Hi, I'm Dr. Tara Swart. I'm a neuroscientist, a senior lecturer at MIT Sloan, author of The Source, and I'm the Chief Science Officer at Heights. We've created the world's first smarter supplement in a really clever double capsule to deliver all your brain's key nutrient needs really simply and in one go. I'm speaking to you literally from the middle of nowhere in self-isolation, and I'm just so aware that we're all going through unprecedented times, and that psychologically speaking, inevitably we'll go through what's known as the grief or change curve. So at different rates, even compared to our loved ones and friends and family, we will all experience shock and denial, anger, depression of sorts, trying to make meaning, find purpose, and then eventually moving forward with acceptance. But we may each of us have to go through that cycle several times. So I really wanted to share with you the tips that I've been using to try to navigate these difficult times physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Train your brain. We know that the brain is much more plastic and flexible than we ever believed it was until we had modern scanning techniques. And one of the strongest biases of the brain is to avoid loss. Now, inevitably we're all feeling the fear of some kind of loss or massive change, things, lasting change that may never go back to how things were before. And so it's so important to remember to override that. And I'm going to talk to you about the physical things you can do to put yourself in the best position to do that. But, this is the time to be more collaborative, demonstrate more trust, show kindness to others, be mindful of how others are coping with the situation. They may have a different perspective. And what's behind all that is understanding that when we're under stress, which we inevitably all are now, we release massive amounts of the stress hormone cortisol into our brains and bodies. And that erodes our immunity, and it moves the blood flow away from the higher executive functions of the brain to survival mode at exactly the time that we need those things that are best about being human to get us through this. Tip number 2, the power of words. I'm a big proponent of journaling. That's what I've written about in my book. But I just think, given what I've said about the grief curve, that we're going to go through so many changes, and the ability to journal that inner journey that we're going through, to be able to read back over it and make sense of what we've experienced, I think it's a critical time to be able to do that and learn so much about ourselves. I think this is an opportunity to go on that inner journey. And so, even if you just look back at the last few days and see whether you've had ups and downs, how maybe your feelings have changed depending on what you're hearing in the news, it's just a really good way to keep track and not let your emotions spiral out of control. If you notice that there's a recurring theme, something that you're really worried about, like, I don't know what's going to happen, we have no idea when this is going to end, I could lose somebody that I love, then you can create an affirmation that is the opposite statement to help you override those negative feelings with a more positive statement that can help you to get through it. This is actually an ancient Buddhist philosophy, but it's totally backed up by the neuroplasticity. So for example, you could say, I will try to do all the things that I can control positively. I will take care of my loved ones, and we will get through this. So make up ones that really work for you, but you can come to those by looking through your journal. Tip number 3, let's get physical. So all of these great things that I'm speaking about, how to think positively and abundantly and get through massive amounts of change, we do need to give our brains a fighting chance of being able to do that. So there's 5 things that I talk about here which are basic but super important. So rest, fuel, hydrate, oxygenate, and simplify. So rest is obvious, but if you're suddenly working from home or not working, it can be so tempting to stay up later at night and wake up whenever. It's crucial for your brain to go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. And it's really important now to proactively bring routine into your life so that it doesn't just slip out of control. Eating a nutrient-dense diet is, again, something that I speak about normally, but with what's going on online and in the shops, that's looking like it's harder to do. And that's why the Height supplement, for example, is just such a good thing to be taking now. It just makes me feel like if I can't get everything that I'm normally eating, at least I know I'm getting all the antioxidants and the key nutrients that my brain needs. Personally, I'm also adding in a probiotic. It improves the quality and diversity of your gut bacteria and improves your immunity through doing that. But it also has been shown in studies that if you take a good quality probiotic for a month, it reduces anxiety, negative thinking, and even some symptoms of depression. In terms of supplements, I'm also a big fan of magnesium baths, which kind of covers off hydration and supplements. So magnesium reduces levels of that stress hormone cortisol. Bathing also hydrates your body by immersing your body in water externally. And absolutely, we need to be drinking more water than ever. It's an opportunity to get into a really good habit that maybe you're not always in. Oxygenate. So some of us aren't allowed to go outside at the moment. Really tough. I've got a friend who's using a static bike on their balcony. But really, just moving around during the day, just not being sedentary, making sure that you're moving, if possible, doing some yoga stretches is really important in terms of oxygenating your brain. If you can't do that, then just take 10 deep breaths. It will calm you down and it will feed your brain one of the resources that it needs most. Simplify is about bringing some mindfulness into your life. So mindful eating, really like cherishing that time that you have with people now, whether it's in isolation with somebody else or virtually. And, improving your daily practice of meditation. Again, this is an opportunity to bring that habit into your life. Another thing that I write about a lot is visualization and what I call action boards. So an action board is like what you've heard of before as a vision board, collage made by hand with images of what you want your life to look like. The action board takes the science a bit further and says that you can't just look at it and expect all your dreams to come true. You need to do something each day to progress towards your goals. Now that could be any of the physical things that I've just spoken about. It could be the journaling, or the affirmations. So make sure you're doing something to keep yourself positive, to keep yourself healthy and able to move forward to that point of acceptance. If you actually create a collage, maybe you've got some old magazines or newspapers at home, then these visual images track to your subconscious and actually help your brain to notice and grasp opportunities that you might otherwise have missed. So at a time where we're watching so much bad news, it's more important than ever to focus on those positive things that you want to bring into your life. I love the fact that it's related to the Tetris effect, probably giving away my age, but if you remember playing Tetris late at night and then when you closed your eyes you could see the little bricks falling down, it's actually a psychological priming effect that's really effective last thing at night. So if you look at your board, if you make your action board, look at it last thing at night, visualize it coming true. This can make a really big difference in your life. My board's probably going to change now given how much circumstances have changed, but it doesn't matter, you can make a new one, you can adjust the one that you have. But what you see is really important, and just seeing bad news all the time is not good for your brain. Okay, so that leads on to another thing that I'm a big fan of, backed up by science, which is the law of attraction. And so the scientific version of that really is that the way that you think determines what happens in your life. And again, it's something I've been speaking about for so long, but it's more crucial than ever now because it's so easy to think negatively now. It's so easy to feel down, to feel out of control, to hear what everybody else is saying and just get swept up in that. And that's why things like the journaling and the affirmation and the action board are so important, because they can really help to keep you focused on the fact that the way that you think is going to make the difference between surviving and thriving. And again, hopefully we all have a bit more time now to really do what's called metacognition, which is think about our thinking. So not just let the outside world happen to us, but take more agency over the way that we think and react to things. So finally, I just wanted to say that what the science really points at with all those tips behind us is that your mental resilience, or your inner strength, whatever you like to call it, is the key differentiator in terms of how people are going to deal and cope even in the same circumstances. So, there's you that will struggle with something, and then there's the best you that will get through it, that will inspire others and will come out feeling better and stronger. And I believe in that you, and the science really backs it up. So please believe that you're remarkable, that you can do things that you never thought you could do before. and let's all do it together in community. Thank you.